All right, Sophie. Well, first off, it was a pleasure working with you, and I'm excited for the reflection ahead. So the first question I'll ask you is, what was your biggest key takeaway?
Oh, great question. First of all, it was also a pleasure working with you. I think my biggest key takeaway was definitely sell to the person that's in front of you. I know that I learned this even further when hearing from our colleagues today about how they were selling to people who are at different levels of the company and how that really changed their experience and their approach. And I don't think I'd really thought about that before. So I think that that was kind of the big key takeaway that I learned. What about yourself, Eric? What was your key takeaway?
Yeah, I'd say my biggest takeaway was maybe even from like a little mistake that I made in at the beginning of the meeting. So 5 minutes in, I tried to get a temperature check, but it ended up coming off more as a test close. So I asked Jordan what she thinks about the product and if she's ready to move forward. Maybe I was a little bit nervous, and she obviously didn't have enough information to give an answer. So she said that she said, I would love to hear more because I'm not ready yet. And I think my key takeaway was being able to use that test close as actually something to direct the rest of the conversation. So then further asking, well, what can we discuss for the rest of the meeting to help you kind of solidify your decision or convince you further? So that was a big takeaway for me is like, sometimes it's not bad to ask, even if it's really early for the test close, because it might lead for a better discussion down the road. So a question for you is with that key takeaway, how can you take this learning into other aspects of your life?
Yeah, for sure. So again, I think this was really supplemented with hearing from somebody who actually sells for YNAB, which is, sometimes it's okay to stalk people in the most um, kind and not strange way possible. But just learning about who you're going to be selling to is a really important aspect. I know even in class, this has been told to us. And I think it really hit home when we were actually putting it into practice. So I think in the future, just realizing I'm selling to a person and not a robot, and knowing that I can try and connect with them about things like pets or interests, and all of that kind of stuff, or potential future endeavors that they have. So I think that was kind of my learning on how I'm going to apply my key takeaway. What about yourself? How are you going to apply your key takeaway to your work or your life?
Yeah, I think just trying to have more courage in meetings to ask the hard questions and get that temperature check, even if it is kind of like a test close. So asking for the deal more often. It's a scary thing to do, but I think it can actually help a lot. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna push myself to ask those hard questions, even if I'm uncomfortable. Yeah. So with that, what would you maybe do differently if you were to do this all over again?
Great question. Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is doing an agenda. It was the only one of those like quick little checkbox things that we didn't get, and we got that feedback in our form. And I definitely thought about it afterwards because, as you know, I know you checked the time and we were kind of rushed at the end there. And I really think that setting an agenda from the beginning, so we kind of knew, okay, like at this point in the meeting, we should be about here, would have been helpful for us to keep track. It would have been helpful for the person that we were meeting's time. So I think that was kind of the biggest thing that I wanted to change going forward. What about yourself?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the agenda, but another, I guess, thing that I would maybe do differently is ask deeper questions. So try to get the why behind the question or the actual root question behind the question. And I think that we did a really good job at actually asking insightful questions and trying to extract information, and they gave us an answer to start off with, but maybe probing for something even deeper. So an example was her big consideration, Jordan's big consideration was an ROI figure, and we went directly into answering how we can provide ROI, or even I tried waving the question and talking about something else. Um, but maybe the best approach would have been to ask her to define what ROI means to her. So
I
just
agree.
a bit deeper might have been better, but maybe it was the nerves, maybe it was the time. But that's something I would maybe do differently. Any additional comments that you would like to share?
Yeah, I think the additional comment I'd like to share is really that even when you're really nervous before, once you get into it, it does get a little bit easier. I know that we didn't have the most difficult persona, but I think when you're in the middle of it, you're not overthinking it as much as you are right before. All of those nerves have kind of gotten out. And then the other thing I would just say is that it was great having you as a partner because I think it really helped us be more effective in our sales meeting. I really felt that we passed things back smoothly. So I think my other thing that I learned was really like having a great partner is a big key to success. What about you? Were there any other things that you'd like to share about this experience?
You know, first of all, I'm flattered. I'm absolutely flattered. And I think, no, I totally agree. I think having a good partner in a sales meeting, especially like it's the first time I do a sales with two people in the room. So you need to have some sort of a chemistry. You need to have like, you know, the flow needs to be good. So you're kind of talking to, I guess, one organization. It's not like you're talking to two individual people. So I think it was nice that we were able to kind of have a good flow right out, you know, right out the gates, even if, you know, it's the first time really like, working together. However, I think, you know, with if we had more sales meetings together, we'd get even better and better and better. But yeah, I think that it was a great experience overall.
Great. Thank you so much. Great working with you.
Yeah, pleasure.